Welcome to Point Blank. This is your host, Panama Crypto. Today our guest is Korean Jew. He needs no introduction, really. Welcome, KJ. Good to have you in Point Blank, my man.
How you doing? Thanks for having me on, Panama. It's good to finally talk to you. We've been exchanged plenty of tweets and comments and DMs with each other over the years. And, I'm happy to see that you started a podcast. Pretty dope, man. So thanks.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. So let's kick it off. What have you been up to lately, in and outside of crypto?
In and outside of crypto. So, COVID has been kind of crazy. So it definitely kind of changed the way we live here in America, especially on the East Coast. Being in the tri-state area, it's been quite the change. So one of the things outside of crypto that I've been into is getting back in shape. I swear, like when COVID happened, I spent a lot of time in the house just kind of doing nothing. And frankly, I think a lot of people share this, but it was scary times, depressing times. And I spent a lot of time. I used to go to the gym like 5-6 times a week. And I watched myself get out of shape. I'm in my mid 30s now. I'm a father of three boys, 2 little ones. So I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I'm spending a lot of time with them. And, I kind of just got out of the groove of working out, obviously, because the gyms were closed. And about 2 months ago, I started training again in parks, doing pull-ups and stuff. And I got some home equipment that I'm using. So I've been trying to get back into shape. It's been so good, like for me, like just all around, because I've been working out forever, a long time. I was always an athlete, and I never really took a break. And those months where I just wasn't the same person. It's especially if you're trading and you're a father, and you got little kids, and you got all this stuff going on, and you don't have that whatever you're going to do, be it video games or anything, where you get that release. I recommend something physical, but it can affect you in very negative ways. And, when I used to go to the gym, that was kind of like my sanctuary. I would block everything out and come out of there feeling high, I guess, you would say. It was just really good. And once I took that away, I just wasn't myself for a little bit. My trading was fine. Like I was able to trade, but something just didn't feel right. And I'm glad that I'm working out again. So that's outside of crypto. Within crypto and markets, I'm trading, doing a lot of option trading actually lately on Robinhood actually. The stock market's been great to trade lately, as well as crypto. It's been a very good risk-on atmosphere since March, clearly. So yeah, just doing my thing, having a good time.
How the kids been doing?
The kids are great. They both were really
forest fires, COVID, homeschooling.
So I think they both had COVID back because they got really sick in March, and they weren't even testing back then. But my youngest one was hospitalized for a week. And shout out to CT. They gave me a lot of support when he was in the hospital. It meant a lot to me. I wasn't expecting that type of reaction, and people really kind of, even people that didn't like me or the people I had beef with, whatever, everybody kind of showed love, and it really made me feel really good about the community, because it's just such an outpour of positive vibes. And thank God, he was in there for a week. We didn't know if he was going to survive. It was really scary. So, they're well, they're strong, they're great. So thanks for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So what impact does COVID has where you at?
It had the direct impact as far as like my kids getting sick, my friends' kids getting sick. Nobody I know died. In fact, one guy I know, this guy I used to work with, he's an older gentleman, he's about 60, and he just had a bout of cancer, lost his leg. He was like, we probably thought he was, he wasn't long for the world to begin with. This guy gets COVID, hospitalized. I'm like, it's going to kill him for sure. This is fucked up to say, but it was like, Jesus, oh man, this guy's got it. Oh, this is bad. He beat it. So like no one I know actually died. Obviously people have died. But as far as like how it's impacted me, I don't know anyone that's died, thank God. Shut down all the businesses, the gym, and I feel really bad for the business owners. And being from this area, I understand why they locked down. But, if you're in other states where like the deaths were like 200 people died, stuff like that, like these other smaller states or less populated states like Vermont and, places in the middle of the country, for like, if you told me like I had to close my business and like now I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids or pay my rent, or, I'm going to lose my life savings because the government's saying, it's not safe. Meanwhile, only 200 people in the state died in 2 months. I would be pretty upset. And, it's just been a crazy year. So even though it hasn't affected me so much directly, I mean, aside from my kids getting sick, so I guess it did, but, it's just, it's added this layer of like uncertainty and stress to everybody. And even though I'm not like one of those people that lives in fear, just the people around you, some of them are, and it's just it's a fucked up year and a fucked up time. Bottom line, one of the worst years I can imagine ever. Truthfully.
Not wanting to dox you, but what state do you live in?
I live in New Jersey. Yeah, it's fine. Come and get me.
How has the BLM movement affected all this?
Oh, wow. This is a real political podcast, huh? Panama, what the fuck? I didn't know what else. I thought I was going to come here and show shit coins. All right, how is BLM
also, you will talk about shit coins.
What was the question? How has BLM affected me?
Yeah, like in where you live at also.
Where I live at? Not at all. It's not. Nothing's going on here per se.
Not like in Minneapolis.
In Jersey? No, I haven't really seen much. If there has been protests, it's been very peaceful. My wife is black. And funny thing, we live in a mainly white town, and they were doing like a protest. So we walked by and like, yo, let's go check out the protest. There was no black people. There was all white people. And I'm like, you're gonna talk? Like they're gonna want you to talk? Like everybody's looking at her like, it's just kind of fucking funny. I mean, like basically, as far as like the concepts and the ideas of injustice and, privilege and these things, police brutality, these are things that I've always been aware of. And, I've seen it firsthand. And I was somebody that, being a Korean Jew, throughout my childhood, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it definitely impacted me where I grew up in a way of like people calling me slurs and, you kike, you gook, these type of things. And, in my adolescence, I experienced that a lot, and it was kind of like bullying, this type of thing, but, it made me stronger as a person. It wasn't right, but I grew up with a real chip on my shoulder. And then, maybe like a few years ago, I started to see things shift a bit where, like people were really starting to wake up, and it's not the same as what it was, but there's a level of racism and tribalism that's always going to exist. It's not going to not exist. And the reaction where we are now, it's like, it's tilted in a way that is quite extreme. And with the misinformation going on, and just kind of like, it just feels like if you're not living in America or like in areas like this, like you wouldn't really understand, but it's kind of, it's just like the fucking country has gone crazy, and people on both sides. If you're somebody in the middle that's kind of like looking at everything objectively, it's like the world has gone crazy. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem as though things are going to get better anytime soon. Really kind of concerned about what's going to happen in the country as we lead up to this election. The next couple of months can get really crazy. So.
America right now sounds exactly like what the movie of the prequel of The Purge would be.
The Purge. I wouldn't say it's that bad yet, but we can get there. I mean, it's
getting bizarre, man.
Yeah, it is strange times, to say the least. I mean, quite strange. Definitely.
So changing subjects here, we don't want to go into that road. What your beginning in crypto looked like, KJ?
My beginning. So my beginning looked like I
Getting wrecked, buying FOMO.
You know what? In the beginning, I didn't really get wrecked. I happened to join at a very opportune time. I bought Bitcoin high, but I bought Bitcoin to buy altcoins. So like, I realized I did enough research before buying my first Bitcoin. I mean, I bought Bitcoin, like I heard about Bitcoin before, but I had never really paid any attention to it. Then I heard about Bitcoin. I started to look into altcoins. I was watching like friends of mine on Instagram and Facebook were posting screenshots of CoinMarketCap, and like the everything was pumping. Like these were crazy numbers, like up 30%, 40%, 50% in a day. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Is that a stock? Like I didn't even know what an altcoin was. So I started to research and started researching. Within a day, I bought my first Bitcoin. And I'm like doing more research into Digibyte and these type of shit coins and started buying those. But at the end of the day, like when you look at the chart of where I entered, I understand TA now. So I'm like, wow, I entered at like a perfect time, really. Like you enter right before the parabolic move, it's very hard to lose. And I experienced a tremendous amount of success right off the bat. It was pretty crazy. So that's a testament to entering and timing and understanding that you don't need to buy the bottom. I didn't buy Bitcoin at $1 or $100 or $1,000. I didn't buy, any of these coins or enter the market in 2015 or 14 or whatever. I entered in 17, but my timing was right. And I rode the wave and if you enter at the right time, you can make a lot of money in a very short period of time instead of having to hold from the bottom and wait. And then, that's kind of like a big difference in my trading that I'm looking at now. And you can do this on multiple time frames, but that's kind of how I got into crypto. I saw people posting shit on Instagram and actually the VP of my company was talking to me and asking me if I knew about Bitcoin. And I was like, no, but maybe I should look into it if this guy's asking me about it. And within, a couple of months, I quit my job. So, went well.
Nice. This takes me to the next question. What is your general approach to maximize gains in crypto? What is your edge?
Okay. So
you focus on a specific market cap coins, low market cap coins?
I would focus on
trade volatility.
I want to buy trending coins. I like to play coins that, similar to what I was saying about entering in 2017 in May, June, whatnot, reloading in July, entering at the point before the breakout. It doesn't matter which coin it is. If it's showing me something specific on the chart that would imply that there is upside, and when you understand the structures of what you're looking at, it's like, all right, this is not a bear market, this is a bull market now. And there are certain cues that can give you a reasonable, expectation that a breakout is coming, and playing those breakouts. And as far as like being specific, I guess, I like to play things, and now I'll exit at levels that make sense. I don't mind exiting at these levels. Like I've abandoned the concept of I'm just going to hodl and hold on forever. I identify areas where it makes sense for the price to stop moving. And, if it goes through that level, then that would imply that there will be an additional leg. And if you sell there, let's say you sell at 100 sats on a coin, like VeChain, for example. So we played that from, low down in the 40s, 50s, and 105 sats was the level that I was kind of looking at as an area where, profit should be taken and there should be a bearish reaction. Not bearish, but there should be a reaction there. And it goes up there and I get out. And then it spends 2 weeks retracing and kind of going sideways, and then it reclaims that area. So as it reclaims it, that would imply that this is going to go higher to the next level. So then I re-enter, and I sacrifice 5 to 10% of potential profit but I gain the opportunity cost of, in that time period where VeChain is doing its thing and retracing a bit, some people bought the dip and made a bigger gain than I would have or did. And but they spent the time in there, and then you also have downside risk and opportunity cost. In that time period, I may have played something else that gave me profit. And then as it's reclaiming the level of 105, now it's very clear another breakout is coming. I re-enter there and then ride that wave. So that's like more of like the trading that I do. Now, that being said, there are lower cap, less liquid projects, and like when we start to, like Uniswap and these low cappers that are less liquid, like you can't just like get in and get out. You can, like, it depends on how much you're trading with, but at the same time, something like that, if I'm buying something that's like a $1 million market cap, I'm more inclined to hold for like more of a parabolic move, but I will take profit at points that make sense if you kind of get it. So like that, kind of like the way I look at structures of price and where I enter and where I exit, I've kind of shifted away trying to call the bottom. I remember in 17, I would just like always be hyper focused on like, all right, this is the bottom. I got the bottom. That doesn't really excite me as much. I'd rather buy something that's going up like a little bit rather than, trying to guess and pick where the end of the downtrend is going to end. And the other thing is really, what the fuck was I going to say? Yeah, like that's like trading the trend basically. It's like nothing, too scientific about that. It's just, just something different than what I did in 17 completely. And I find success with that. And, without giving up too much of the secret sauce, I mean, those are pretty good concepts for you to use for some people, but, I don't know.
Okay, you've had the trading dojo for quite a while now, right? Can you show me the trading dojo?
It's been three years almost now. Nearly 3 years. We opened in November of 2017, and it's gone through a crazy amount of changes, growth, and I tell you what, I wouldn't be doing it anymore if I didn't enjoy it, and if I didn't have great people to do it with. In 17, I had 2 partners, great guys, but I felt like it was like a tremendous amount of pressure on me, because when people think about like the dojo or, there's an association with just me. And, it's like, if it does well, then I get credit. If it doesn't do well, then it's on me. And I have to like push and market and do all these things. But now I don't really market anymore too heavily. I have 4 partners who, some of them were actually members in the dojo when we opened the doors. These are all people that have different skill sets, that we're just straight up partners, and we all kind of carry each other, and we all do different things, and we have different strengths, different weaknesses, but everybody's bringing something different to the table. And now it's like, I don't feel any pressure whatsoever. So there will be times where like I'll look around and I don't see anything really I feel that comfortable playing, but I have 4 other guys with different sets of eyes that are looking and trading different things and have different systems and techniques, and they're spotting out different plays. So it's not like I have to manufacture something. And this is like one of the worst things about the paid group model, is that there's this pressure, or rather like there's you're kind of like, all right, well, people are paying us money, so we have to provide a value that is worth that money. If we do not provide that value, then we have no business being open, and we're fucking scammers. But if we are able to provide value, help them. Some people do not have the time to sit there and trade all day. They're professionals, they're working other jobs, but they like to be in a group that keeps them informed, that they can bounce ideas off of. And that also will kind of put them in, you have to be accurate. At the end of the day, you have to be accurate. If you're not accurate, then why are you open? It wouldn't make any sense, right? So the difficulty in this is that like at times like these, for instance, like the past week, Bitcoin being where it is and kind of altcoins, or at least the last few days, there may not be a trade to make. And sometimes the hardest part of having a paid group is that people are paying you. So it's like you feel like you have to manufacture a play. And that's when you get in trouble. You know, when you're making a play that you're just kind of like gambling on, you're not, there's nothing out there that looks like meets the criteria of an actionable trade, but you're feeling that pressure of shit, my members are waiting when signal, when moon, you know, I gotta
Just
do
forcing
something.
a trade.
Yeah, you're forcing a trade. And in 2017, you know, I may have forced trades, but also at the same time, it's like you have a platform on Twitter, so you're going to be even more inclined to kind of get other people to FOMO into those trades per se, you know, if you understand what I'm saying. And, you know, that's just something that I don't do anymore at all. And if you look at my feed, like I'm not that I'm knocking it or anything like that. I'm in, you know, I don't judge anybody, but you know, just from 17 and 18, the lessons I learned, it's just something I try to avoid. So I try to help people when I can and put them in the right place and talk about stuff that's liquid enough where I feel like I'm not going to influence anything. You know, it's going to happen with or without me tweeting or anything like that. You know, I'll talk about larger cap shit or different things or talk about coins that are in very good spots from a technical perspective. But at the same time, you know, it's cool to be able to kind of like just be behind the scenes doing your thing and not really have to, you know, try to influence it in any type of way. So that's a little bit what's different between now and what it was and kind of the growth. Funny story, we're talking about when the dojo opened. One of my partners, one of the original founders, was a guy named Foz Crypto, who was a great trader, and he was a killer ICO guy back in 2017, and you know, he started an ICO with this guy Reggie. He co-founded it called Gather, and it took them 3 years to release the tokens. He offered seed ICO tokens to people within the group, and that was his thing. And you know, this was during the ICO bubble, so you know, to be a seed investor in an ICO is cool. A lot of people participated, but I mean, they raised, I believe it was 300K in 2018, rather. And then the bubble popped and altcoins were bad. You know, ICOs, they just kind of went away for a while. And I mean, for like years, I was getting DMs from people being like, when do we get these gathered tokens? And I'd be constantly talking to Foz and Reggie, like, and the whole time they're building. You know, they never stopped. And, you know, they recently listed on BitThumb like a week ago or a couple of days ago or something. And you know, I'm not going to talk about price or anything like that, but it's pretty cool to see that, like, you know, they built something that's legit, and you know, it took 3 years, but there were people that were in the dojo 3 years ago that are long gone from crypto, and they're like for instance, this one guy, he was in Australia and he lost his house in the fires, and he's completely out of crypto, and he was DMing me in February saying like trying to sell his Gather tokens. I'm like, listen, like, you know, I don't know anybody that's going to buy them right now. You know, we got COVID and stuff. People are exiting markets. He went nearly all in on Gather ICO like 3 years ago and was completely out of crypto, lost his house, like hard time. He was going through hard times, and it was horrible. And, you know, the bottom line is, like, out of nowhere, Gather lists, they're doing all sorts of stuff. They have, you know, great growth, partnerships and all sorts of stuff coming. And, you know, like, this guy's ICO investment, I think it was up like 20x plus, like, and he had like gone all in and he put a decent amount in. It's just like, like these people that were like completely out of crypto, like one ICO, like brought them back in now. And they're like, holy shit, I can't believe it. Like, I totally forgot about this. It's like when you find money on a wallet or something or on an exchange, but like you find like a crazy amount of money. It's pretty sick. It was pretty
Oh,
sick.
that's an awesome story, man.
Yeah, literally brought a tear to my eye because as soon as I started to see like, oh, okay, they're listing on BitThumb, things are hot, like the OTC market was hot. I instantly like DM this guy. I'm like, yo, are you watching this? Like I think you're gonna do good, man. I think you're gonna do good. It looks like you're gonna do good, like life-changing money good. Like it was awesome, really awesome to see, man.
That's great to hear, man.
Like that made my week, to be honest. So shout out to those guys. I mean, they did a great job. It's not just about like listing on an exchange. They're legit, and they've been working their ass off, and they have other good people involved, and pretty sick to see it. I love it.
This episode is brought to you by PrimeXBT, the exchange that makes possible to trade with leverage on legacy markets from a single Bitcoin-based account. So next two questions are like tied together. There's a month and a half to U.S. elections. Who do you think will win?
I didn't know this was a political show, Panama. If you started asking me about ass and titties,
the thing is, the next question
is the ass man on Twitter. That's what I know you from. He's always got.
The thing is, the next question is about the market forecast, and he's very tied to this.
What do I think? Who will win?
Yeah,
Trump. I think Trump wins in a landslide. However, this whole mail-in ballot thing is. I don't know how that works. Like the government, as well as like places like the post office, like they're not great at handling things like that. And if you're gonna tell everybody mail in your vote, like how are they gonna? There's no way they're prepared to do that. It's a crazy idea, and the notion that protesting and having people out, like it's okay to go out, it's okay to protest, but don't go vote. Like I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So the whole thing with the mail-in ballots and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. If I had to guess, I would say Trump wins by a landslide. A lot of people, because the way things have gotten is like, if you say you're voting for Trump, people will like punch you in the face. It's nobody says like, all right, I'm voting for Biden. Well, fuck you, I'm beating you up. Like that doesn't happen. But like when you watch the news, they make it seem like everybody's a Nazi and like beating the shit out of people, and everybody's a racist and all this stuff. But the reality is, it's really the Democrats that are like physically violent towards other people. That's what you see. Like that's the truth. Some people listening may not like that, but that's the reality. And there are plenty of people that are very scared to say that publicly. They're scared that they're going to get fired from their jobs, or friends will start to hate them because there is this vote for Trump, you're a racist. Vote for Trump, you're a Nazi. Like that, and it's not that simple. So I think that whatever these polls are bullshit. There's going to be a lot of people that won't admit that they're going to vote for Donald Trump, but they will. I mean, because the bottom line is, people they're seeing what's happening in the protests, and people are sitting down eating dinner, and there's like protesters coming, taking their drinks and destroying the restaurant. And I don't know. I mean, I just think most of America will probably vote for Donald Trump. He will get the majority vote, but I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. I couldn't tell you what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm concerned.
That being said, what is your overall legacy in crypto market forecast for the rest of the year?
For the rest of the year. So, when we look at what we can expect to happen, I've noticed a lot of people have been like, since March, basically, since the whole recovery has occurred. I mean, S&P has made all-time highs, NASDAQ made all-time high a long time ago. Dow didn't get there yet. So that's a little concerning, but people keep saying like, what, there's going to be a crash. And it's like, listen, like what happened in March during the COVID crashes where, plunge protection team had to jump in, and they were shutting down trading. They were pausing trading like multiple times in a day and like multiple times in a week. Like that was the crash, guys. Like, what were you, like that happened, and we've made an all-time high, a new all-time high already. So, overall, the high time frame still remains bullish. Stonks only go up is like, it sounds stupid, but if you look at the past, if you look at the history, I mean, it's not actually wrong. I mean, technically, when you think about it, they have only gone up. And if you look at like the value of anything, how much did it cost to fill up your cart at the supermarket 10 years ago, right? Dollar inflation is real. If you look at the dollar, and we're printing trillions of dollars, that is going to mean something. And it's not a behavior that's going to just stop. I don't see that stopping. People have suggested we go back to the gold standard. That's not happening. That's not the system we're in. So I wouldn't bet against that system. And ultimately, I would expect, things to continue to make new all-time highs. That being said, will there be corrections? Absolutely. We saw one, like a week and a half ago, like a little while ago. It wasn't long ago. And, what I can say is, as far as what the impact the election will have on it, anytime there's like uncertainty, you usually see at least a short-term correction. But I mean, all in all, I don't think it really matters too much who wins. Eventually, I mean, it'll if it pulls back, it'll recover. So if Biden starts to trend upwards, and it seems clear, he seems the clear favorite, you could see the markets pull back a bit. If he wins, I think you'll see probably an impulsive pullback. There will be some sort of, like a nasty day, 5% down on indexes, something like that. And then like that would be a dip that I would buy. I would play that, because at the end of the day, it's going to recover most likely. The bet is in your favor. You want to buy when people are freaking out. So Biden gets elected, markets are crashing. Oh, they're dumping because of Biden. Like when you see that, that's when you want to buy, in my opinion. So that's what I would say. I think ultimately, we look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin can do plenty of things here. It doesn't have to just go back up right now. I mean, this can go sideways. This can actually, I mean, ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised to see 8,500, somewhere between 7,800 and 8,500. If it's in a bear flag right now, it has to continue. If this stalls out here, this is a very dangerous area. So last weekend, I was looking at like 109.50 as the area. We hit like 109.20 today. And this needs to keep pushing. But we're seeing it pull back a bit. Alts don't look good whatsoever. Specifically, FUSD doesn't look good to me. And the dollar is pumping right now as well. So there are some reasons to be a little bit concerned. And if I had the chart, I'd show you, but structurally, what I'm looking at and what I have been for the past week, 2 weeks, is when I trade this on a lower time frame, this structure normally revisits the original wave that led to the breakout, like more towards the middle or bottom of it. And we're just like really kind of tested the top of it. And, so what I mean by that is we spent like a couple of months between 8K and 10.5, right? And then it broke out. It said like, hey, if this breaks out of this wave to the upside, you don't want to stand in the way of that. It's going to be a good move. So we go to 12.4, but now it's made the pullback. When that pulls back and it shows you what it did, normally it goes to like the bottom part of that range. So, I'd be a little bit cautious here, to be honest. It's not a bad time. This is one of those times to be cautious. If it continues, there's a couple levels that we're not too far away from. If we continue pushing tomorrow, let's say, and we breach those levels and then retest them and they hold, then I'm like, all right, this is fucking bullish as hell. So that can definitely happen. I hope it does. That's what I'm rooting for. But specifically where we are right now, it's not a bad time to be cautious. And like I said, alts are, in a dangerous spot. A few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, what was it, like September? Not even 2 weeks ago. This was like less than a week ago, like a week ago. Alts kind of did like a mini capitulation. They were down, like most alts on Binance were down like 20%. that was a great time to buy and play the bounce, and almost everything bounced off of that. So you want to look around. You don't want to be early, but there are times where you see these large moves happening with very fast velocity, and you scan around and you see like there's just like this essence of wreckness in the air. Like it's never a bad time to buy or take a shot. And when I say buy, I don't mean go all in, but you can start to take shots on days like that, especially in a bull trend. It doesn't hurt, and that is what we are in. So, you want to buy until the market flips bearish. If it's a confirmed bear trend, then that kind of changes. You just play opposite. But in the bull trend, when you get days like that, that's when you long. Like for instance, Tesla. I tweeted about it the other day. It was down, went from 500 to 330. So, I'm like, okay, this has been the leader of the whole move. Arguably the best one. I mean, there are other stocks that you could have played like Overstock, and there are other stuff that performed really well. But from a profile level, Tesla reminded me of Chainlink as far as being a leader in the market. And you want to see those leaders continue. And when the leaders stop bouncing, that's when that could be indicative of an overall change in market. But until it proves that it isn't, when Tesla pulls back from 500 to 330, I'm a buyer there. So like I opened some call contracts on that, and they were up 5x within a day. Like within 24 hours, it pulled a 5x. But, so people that are just limiting themselves to crypto, it's like you can make crazy gains in other markets as well. Don't get it twisted. Like if you can trade crypto, you can trade anything. So I wouldn't limit yourself to that, because that gives you more options. Like for instance, right now, when I said like there are certain things that like doesn't look too good, or I don't feel convinced about anything. If you don't feel very confident about a position or opening a position, then you shouldn't open one. But if you're playing multiple markets, there are more assets to look at where you can spend the time and find something that will meet that actionable trade characteristics, like however you define that. You'll find something that looks, from a technical perspective, like something that you're willing to play. But if you're just looking at crypto, the thing is, like, alts tend to trend, together for the most part. You're always going to find outliers. But if, let's say, alts are trending down, like picking the 1% out of the whole pack that are going to be outliers, like that is not a great strategy. Your odds aren't in your favor. And some people can do it. That was part of why I was successful in 17, more so than a lot of other people, was that in September, when alts trended down because Bitcoin was pumping, I was able to identify Walton chain coin, and this coin happened to do a 20x, where the majority of the class of alts across the board did minus 50 to minus 70% in that month. So it's like, all right, this guy found the one coin out of thousands. And so in that scenario, when you're that guy and you found something that performed while 99% of the market didn't, so what does that mean? 99% of the people in the market got wrecked, and you're the guy who's like, hey, look how much money I'm making. That sells people a dream. That's how you build a reputation, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's like, hey, I found the next one. I found it, like you see it. If you've been around, you know what I'm talking about. But, I'm just keeping it 100 with you about like what 2017 is and was, and what we'll see again and are seeing again. I'm a little bit wiser this time around, and you can see that, and you can see the movements within, people within the market and what's happening, and you can capitalize on that actually, and just quietly capitalize on that. And that's something I enjoy to do. So, shillers keep shilling. I'm not a hater at all. Just keep shilling, baby. I don't mind it one bit, but if you're somebody new, like, you better get educated or else you're going to get wrecked as fuck. So, hopefully go get an education and understand the history of this market and all markets.
Have you got a piece of the yield farming? this
Of
time
course,
around?
Stillman, my brother Stillman put me on like before everybody. I was talking about that in like April on streams, and I went on Cointelegraph. They did an interview, and I brought up Uniswap, and I said, this is the next Ether Delta. I mean, I was one of those people that I was like, I never thought I'd see this again. This kind of like shitcoin mania. But it's awesome, and I gotta give credit to Stillman Crypto because he's one of my partners at the dojo, by the way. I mean, I put him up against anybody in the alt game. He's like the number one alt guy to me. You know, you could argue there are other people, like, but he has to be in the conversation because when it comes to fundamentals and you combine that with his technical analysis, the guy is phenomenal. He's just amazing. So he wrote an article. We published it, and I tried to share it with people about Uniswap. This was before like things really were popping off. The timing was impeccable. So yeah, absolutely. A guy in our group farmed Wi-Fi on the first day. Wi-Fi the first day it released. He farmed it, and he sold some at $60. He sold some at 30,000 too, but he sold some Wi-Fi. That's how early he was on that. Was he sold some Wi-Fi at $60. People, it's not even on the chart. If you look at the chart, you won't even see that price. But I saw it happen. It definitely happened. So, you know, but that being said, he held on. It's not like he sold his whole bag, but he was like trying to trade around with it. But, you know, that's how early he was on that. It's pretty crazy. It's been a hell of a run for Uniswap, and you know, I think anybody involved with crypto, just kind of similar to Ether Delta and ICOs. So when I first got in at 17, I was like, okay, I got to buy these altcoins. Let me make a Bittrex account. Let me make a Poloniex account. I made a Cryptopia account. I was early on Binance. I saw Binance was like the new shit, and all the coins on there were pumping. So I went. This is one thing I could tell you, because I know if you're new to crypto and you're listening, like, you want to be early, especially on trends, but like exchanges, different things that are happening, like you don't want to like hesitate. If you see something developing, like, it doesn't hurt you to learn how to use it or create that login for the exchange. Don't let it stop you. Don't wait until everything is popping off and then everybody is signing in.
Talking about it.
Then you're late. You're late. You want to be early. It doesn't hurt to learn how to do something. So, like, for example, Uniswap, I mean, I would compare that. I remember in 17, it was like doing ICOs, you needed, you know, you had to do a VPN or a Tor browser. There were different, you know, little barriers to entry. It wasn't anything crazy that you couldn't figure out. I'm not Mr. Tech savvy, but I figured it out. Or you have friends that help you along the way. But, you know, in the beginning, I thought, hey, I'll just be on Cryptopia, I'll be on Bittrex. And my friends like Foz and others were doing like 20, 30x on these ICOs, and I didn't even know how to do them. And you know, then they were on Ether Delta flipping coins for like 10x in a day. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. And I was late. Like I was still, in the grand scheme of things, I was still early. But that's not a mistake I'm making again. You know, when I see something emerging, I'm not gonna wait to learn, you know. That like, if you take one thing from this interview, it's like, don't wait. There will be new things, new exchanges. Doesn't mean you have to like go in or go crazy, but like, don't make the mistake of not investigating or not learning how to utilize something within this market that most other people are avoiding. You know, if other people are hesitant, or they don't want to, they're lazy, or they don't, you know, haven't done the research, that's your edge. Especially like if you're not a TA guy and your TA isn't fantastic, and you're just relying on technicals and kind of like trying to find something before it pumps, like, you have to know where to go, what exchanges are these things on. Are these like these are smaller exchanges? Like, I remember Trade Ogre had a season in 2018, or rather 19, where stuff on Trade Ogre was popping off, but most people were like too lazy to make Trade Ogre accounts, so they missed out on it. And like, oh, it's not liquid enough. Like, motherfucker, you can put $1,000 in and make $10,000. It's not good enough for you. Like, who the fuck are you? You know, like, I'll take that all day. So, you know, if you take anything away from what I'm telling you, like, if you're thinking about learning something, like, don't put it off, do it tonight. You know, don't wait, because that's what it takes to win. Not everybody's going to win. You know, people will tell you, hey, we're all going to make it. That's bullshit. It's not. a lot of you are going to be late. A lot of you are going to get dumped on by the guy who stayed up all night doing his research or whatever, and or was just like not lazy and made an account for Trade Ogre. Like that guy beat you. You know, he beat you because he made an account. Like, don't be the guy who loses because you don't want to make an account to trade whatever's hot.
That being said, what crypto projects are you excited about?
Whatever looks good. I don't, there's nothing specific for me. Flexicoin is pretty cool. That's a bigger cap. People don't seem to been talking about it for some time. But when I tweet about Flexo, like I get like 4 likes. So that means like nobody really cares, which is cool. That's good. I mean, it's a larger cap. It's multi-millions, like 50, 60 million. Something might be even more now, actually. But so I don't mind really talking about it, but I think that one's going to be a good performer. But aside from that, like, I don't know, whatever looks good at the moment, there's normally a lot to choose from. But yeah.
Whatever's hot.
Yeah, whatever looks good. Yeah, whatever's hot, you could play it. This conversation happens to happen on a Tuesday night where the charts are looking as they are. There is nothing out there right now that's like I could be like, yeah, I'm really excited about this, and like you guys can you guys can make money on it, like, because right now, like, I don't feel terribly confident in the short term about anything. So I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm really big on this when I'm looking at the chart and I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's a great idea to buy now. So, that's, I wish I could say more, but I don't want to mislead anybody,
That's cool.
Yeah, nothing looks great. Flex looks pretty good, but I don't think if BTC dominance bounces off the support here, which it very likely can, then anything you buy tonight is most likely you'll end up losing your Bitcoin, like a percentage of your Bitcoin on it, or Bitcoin plus USD on it. And, when stuff looks good, follow my Twitter, I'll tell you. That's it. Tonight I got nothing.
And then to the last question, KJ, what is your number one recommendation for anyone recently joining crypto?
I guess I would just reiterate what I just said before about not being lazy and learning and trying to be early. Don't wait until everybody's doing something to do it. Research as much as you can. Be in a lot of groups. Make friends, and don't make friends with stupid people. Make friends with people that are like serious. If you're like super emotional and they're like, every time the price goes up, like, yeah, going crazy, and like it goes down, like, fuck, it's over, like that you want to kind of control. And people like that are constantly like emotionally swinging with the market, and being reactionary and selling the bottom and buying the top. Like, if those are your friends, like, that's okay, but like you can use that. You don't want to do what they're doing. Catch my drift, but yeah, but it's good to have friends in crypto. You help each other. More eyes are better, but make friends with people. If you're serious, then make friends with serious people. If you're just having a good time and you're throwing a couple bucks and it's not like something you're taking tremendously seriously, then like whatever. But frankly, I guess the other advice would be like, take it seriously, because you can make life-changing money in a very, very short period of time, especially if your timing is right, like mine was. And it's not just me. There's plenty of people that did really well in short periods of time, and just like the timing with Uniswap, people that played Uniswap, people literally became millionaires that weren't before that run. So, I would say if you're like listening to this podcast, then I would say you're relatively serious about your crypto, and you might as well go all the way, because you don't know like how quickly your life can change until it happens, and then it feels pretty surreal. So I would say, don't be a lazy motherfucker, and don't be dumb, and put the appropriate respect on your portfolio. Understand that even though you may not have a lot of money now, you have to create the habits of, because if you make a lot of money, like, but you don't know how, and you don't have the habits that are going to bring you success in the long term, you'll end up losing that money. So treat your money with respect now and take it seriously. And, you know, do your research, and don't be scared. Don't be scared to be early. That's what I would say.
And with that, we end the episode. I'm very happy to have hosted KJ on Point Blank. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can you tell us where we can find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Korean Jew Crypto, or Instagram. And frankly, you know what, Instagram is more like a personal, so, but if you follow trading_dōjō, like, there's a lot of content on Instagram at Trading Dōjō. That's me and my partners, and you all share that account. So we'll put out TA, tips, signals, all sorts of shit on there. So a lot of, and they're also on Twitter, so trading_dōjō. Definitely go follow them. That's where you know, a lot of the more interactive, like, kind of content comes out of. So yeah, and I'm on YouTube, but I'm bored of it, so I don't really do it too often anymore. But if you Google Korean Jew trading or Korean Jew crypto, you find it. There aren't many of us.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, peace. This episode was brought to you by PrimeXBT, the exchange where you can trade without KYC on legacy markets with your Bitcoin. You can trade commodities like gold, silver, oil, even indexes and forex. Join now and get a 50% bonus on top of your deposit for trading at u.primexbt.com/Panama.